And that's really similar in the work that we do is that, like how you guys are students teaching students. In our leadership group, we're peers teaching other peers, educating them on the issues that surround abortion and, sharing our stories about the barriers that we personally had, with support or financial assistance, whatever the case may be. We still have that barrier in front of us, and then we could, share that with other peers.
No, and I think it's great because if the schools themselves aren't going to provide the education, then the students are just going to do it themselves, and they took the problem into their own hands, which is really, really, really great.
It's really empowering too.
Yeah, and I think Medical Students for Choice is working. More and more people are becoming abortion providers because they became involved with this organization, and they realized that the need existed, and they're putting it out there, and hopefully it's gonna continue so that women have more access to this procedure that they want and have right to.
Right. So before we close on tonight's show, I do have a bit of recent news. So for those who aren't familiar, Physicians for Reproductive Choice and Health is an doctor-led national advocacy organization, and they have an annual provider award ceremony for people who've just gone above and beyond, abortion providers who've gone above and beyond. And so to make this story short and sweet, they came up with a Declaration of Rights for abortion providers, and in the name of Dr. Tiller, who we mentioned before, who this year is the 1-year anniversary of his death. And so amongst this Declaration of Rights, there's 6 points in the Declaration, and just to name a few, it's like abortion providers, their families, and their co-workers have the right to exist free of violence, harassment, and discrimination. Abortion providers have the right to choose the tools and techniques that are best for a particular abortion procedure and the patient's needs. And I'm not going to go into all 6 points, but I feel like this declaration is really, really important. But at the same time, it's kind of like a bittersweet thing, because at the same time, something like this should not be needed. We should not have to have a written statement declaring someone's rights. That's ridiculous. But I am asking people to go support it. They asked us to sign on and support this declaration. So you can do that by going to www.prch.org. Again, that website is www.prch.org. And this is to sign on in support of the Abortion Providers Declaration of Rights. So, was that...
No, that organization is really fantastic. It's kind of like the graduated level of Medicine for Choice, that they provide support to physicians who are abortion providers or pro-choice physicians who are supporting other abortion providers. And yeah, what happened to Dr. Tiller was such a tragedy. That is definitely something to think about 1 year later. That it's great that an organization out there is trying to do something meaningful and. After his death, because it was such a tragedy that really should have never happened.
Right. So, we take the one last caller. Caller?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes. My number one, I'm so grateful for you two ladies that you have the courage and the strength to really, live up to what you feel, because I know it's so scary what you just talked upon. In the past I've worked as an operating room nurse, and we did second trimester abortion, so I was privy to see what goes on. It's such difficult decisions for a woman to make. I really sincerely fear for you, because I go to a clinic and it's like I can't even get past the protesters, to have a safe, just regular gynae visit without being handed a pamphlet or being harassed, or just my own freedom as far as my own personal beliefs. And I don't know, I admire you greatly, but I'm scared for your safety personally.
Thank you so much, caller, for that. And we do encounter that. And actually, a part of our leadership group is on occasion we visit different facilities that provide abortions, and we escort the women in, because that's a barrier in itself, actually walking to the door, because you have so many anti-choice people that are out there just like overwhelming you with different pamphlets and rosaries and all the negative comments and everything like that. It's hard enough for a woman to make that decision, but to throw it in her face while she's trying to walk in is something totally ridiculous and uncalled for.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate your concern. That's really great, and it's great to have allies out there. but there's someone that needs to be an advocate for these women too. And yeah, no, I worry about it. I think everyone worries about it who's involved with this, but everyone takes precautions, and yeah, I think in general the crazies are few and far between. At least I like to hope so.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to wrap up our show, and I just wanted to thank Laura and the rest of Medical Students for Choice for doing this show with us and giving your perspective, because it's often unheard. And so I really appreciate you coming on the show and just giving your perspective.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a really great experience, and
Yeah.
thank you for all the work you do with the organization too. It's great.
Thank you. And thank all the callers with the comments and the questions. We really appreciate it. So good night, everybody.
Good night.